Open Corridor 5A.dwg, which is available in the Tutorials Drawings folder. In the drawing, select the corridor. Click Corridor tab, modify Corridor panel, Corridor surfaces. In the Corridor Surfaces dialog box, click Create a corridor surface to create an entry in the Surfaces table. Change the surface name to Corridor 1, Top. Click the surface style cell for the Corridor 1, Top surface. In the Pick Corridor Surface Style dialog box, select Border and Contours. Click OK. Click the Render Material cell for the Corridor 1, Top surface. In the Pick Render Material dialog box, select Site Work, Paving, Surfacing. Asphalt. Click OK. Select the Corridor 1, Top surface by clicking the icon next to its name. Change the Overhang Correction setting to Top Links. This setting specifies that the surface will be built using the links along the top of the assembly. This setting is especially critical when an assembly has overlapping subassembly links that, if connected, would result in errors in surface triangulation. For specified code, select Top. Click Add Surface Item. This action adds the corridor links with the top code to this surface. Create a datum corridor surface. Repeat the previous procedure to create a datum surface, using these parameters. Name, Corridor 1, Datum. Surface Style, Hide Surface. Render Material, Site Work, Planting, Soil. Overhang Correction, Bottom Links. Link Code, Datum. Create a paved corridor surface. Create a paved surface, using these parameters. Name, Corridor 1, Pave. Surface Style, Border and Contours. Render Material, Site Work, Paving, Surfacing, Asphalt. Overhang Correction, Top Links. Link Code, Pave. Create a median corridor surface. Create a median surface, using these parameters. Name, Corridor 1, Median. Surface Style, Border and Contours. Render Material, Site Work, Planting, Gravel, Mixed. Overhang Correction, Top Links. Link Code, Gravel. Generate the surfaces and examine the results. Click OK to create the surfaces and close the Corridor Surfaces dialog box. In Toolspace, on the Prospector tab, expand the Surfaces collection. When you select a corridor surface, only the surface is selected. The corridor it is based on is not selected. When you change the surface style of a corridor surface using its surface properties, the style is also changed in the Corridor Properties dialog box on the Surfaces tab. When a corridor is rebuilt, corridor surfaces are updated to reflect any changes in the corridor, and then any edits are applied to the corridor model. The corridor from which the surface was taken is listed in the Surface Properties definition. Outside boundary, used to define the outer boundary of the corridor surface. Hide boundary, used as a mask to create void areas or punch holes in the corridor surface. For example, a corridor might use a link code paved either side of the corridor with another surface, a median, separating them. When you create a corridor surface using paved as the data, Autodesk Civil 3D tries to connect the gap in between two link codes. To create voids, you define boundaries to represent the surface appropriately. Render Only, used to represent different parts of corridor surface with different materials, when rendering, for example, asphalt and grass. Create outside boundaries automatically. Open Corridor 5B.dwg, which is available in the Tutorials Drawings folder. In the drawing, select the corridor. Tip: if you have difficulty selecting the corridor in the drawing, go to Toolspace on the Prospector tab. Expand the corridors collection. Right-click the corridor name and click Select. Click Corridor tab, modify Corridor panel, Corridor surfaces. In the Corridor Surfaces dialog box, click the Boundaries tab. 4 corridor surfaces are displayed in the boundary table. Select the Corridor 1 top surface. Right-click. Click Add Automatically Daylight. Select the Corridor 1 datum surface. Right-click. Click Add Automatically Daylight. For both boundaries, make sure the use type is set to outside boundary. Click OK. The new boundaries are added to the Corridor 1 top and Corridor 1 datum surfaces. The corridor model is regenerated and the surfaces are rebuilt. Click View tab Views panel named Views List Corridor_begin. The drawing is redrawn to a zoomed-in view of the starting area of Corridor 1. In the drawing, select the corridor. Click Corridor tab Modify Corridor panel Corridor Surfaces. In the Corridor Surfaces dialog box, on the Boundaries tab, select the Corridor 1 paved surface. Right-click. Click Add Interactively. In the drawing, select the feature line along the left inside edge of the paved shoulder within Circle 3. Since there are multiple feature lines at this location, the Select a Feature Line dialog box is displayed. Select EPS. Click OK. Pan to the other end of the corridor. Notice that a red line appears along the first feature line you selected. Select the feature line in Circle 10. In the Select a Feature Line dialog box, select EPS. Click OK. Pan to the beginning of the corridor, and select the feature line along right inside edge of paved shoulder within Circle 4. On the command line, enter C to close the boundary. In the Corridor Surfaces dialog box, expand the Corridor 1 Paved Surface Collection item to see the boundary item. Change the corridor boundary name to Pave Outside and set its use type to Outside Boundary. In the Corridor Surfaces dialog box, on the Boundaries tab, select the Corridor 1 Paved Surface. Right-click. Click Add Interactively. Repeat the previous procedure to define the inside boundary of the paved region. Click in Circle 1 and select EPS to define the left outside edge of the paved shoulder. Click in Circle 8 and select EPS to define the left outside edge of the paved shoulder. Click in Circle 2. On the command line, enter C to close the boundary. Change the name of the boundary to Pave Inside. Change the use type to Hide Boundary. In the Corridor Surfaces dialog box, on the Boundaries tab, select the Corridor 1 Median Surface. Right-click and click Add Interactively. Define the outside boundary of the median. Click in Circle 1 and select EPS to define the left outside edge of the paved shoulder. Click in Circle 8 and select EPS to define the left outside edge of the paved shoulder. Click in Circle 2. On the command line, enter C to close the boundary. Change the name of the boundary to Median. Change the use type to Outside Boundary. Click OK to create the boundaries and close the Corridor Properties dialog box. Open Corridor 5c.dwg, which is available in the Tutorials Drawings folder. In the drawing, select the Corridor Lick Corridor tab Modify Corridor panel drop-down Edit Code Set Styles. On the Edit Code Sets dialog box, under Code Set Style, make sure that All Codes is selected Daylight_cut, Site Work, Planting, Grass, Short. Daylight_fill, Site Work, Planting, Grass, Short. Ditch, Site Work, Planting, Grass, Thick. Gravel, Site Work, Planting, Gravel, Mixed. Median, Site Work, Planting, Grass, Short. Pave, Site Work, Paving, Surfacing, Asphalt. Slope_link, Site Work, Planting, Grass, Short. Click OK. Hide and render corridor surfaces. Click View tab Views panel named Views List Corridor_3D view. The drawing is redrawn to a three-dimensional view of the corridor. In Tool Space, on the Prospector tab, expand the Surfaces collection. Right-click the corridor, 1, Median Surface. Click Surface Properties. In the Surface Properties dialog box, on the Information tab, change the surface style to Hide Surface. Click OK. The Hide Surface style has all of its components turned off, which allows the surface's render material to be effectively ignored. The rendering method used in this exercise applies render materials that are assigned to the subassembly link codes, and not the surface itself. Follow steps 2 and 3 to apply the Hide Surface style to the Corridor 1, Pave and Corridor 1, top surfaces. Note: the Corridor 1, Datum surface already uses the Hide Surface style. On the command line, enter Render to render the corridor in 3D using the render materials that are applied to the subassembly links. Apply 2D hatching to the corridor model. Click View tab Views panel named Views List Corridor _all. The drawing is redrawn to plan view. In the drawing, select the corridor. Click Corridor tab Modify Corridor panel drop-down Edit Code Set Styles. On the Edit Code Sets dialog box, under Code Set Style, select all codes with hatching. Click Edit Current Selection. Note: you can also open the Code Set Style dialog box from Tool Space on the Settings tab. Expand General Multipurpose Styles Code Set Styles. Right-click the appropriate code set style and click Edit. In the Code Set Style dialog box, on the Codes tab, under Link, in the Slope_Link row, set the Material Area Fill Style to Strip Hatch. Click OK twice.